is here, finally, hopefully. Which means summer is right around the corner. Which means if you want to be getting to the beach and looking as good as you can, head over to NHBshow.com/ideal to work on that summer body that you keep saying that you're going to do. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the New Hampshire Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana, and today I'm here with KarenGray of Green Mountain Hypnosis. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for taking the trip down here to see me. I know it was a good little hike.
Absolutely. It was a beautiful drive. Springtime weather. Yeah. Little construction, so it feels all authentic. It's good.
I will say that the drive up 89 is phenomenal in like the fall.
Absolutely.
Like, it's gorgeous up there.
It is.
I like that. So let's get this started. Tell me a little bit about Green Mountain Hypnosis, like where it started. Just give me your history.
Absolutely. So Green Mountain Hypnosis is a client-centered hypnosis practice in Lebanon, New Hampshire. And I am the director. I'm a registered nurse for the last little more than a decade. And the transition between registered nurse and hypnotist was almost by accident. So the actual founder of Green Mountain Hypnosis is a man named John Burchell, and my dearest friend. And it was his brainchild and his passion and his love that started this adventure. So, I have done a lot with my nursing career.
Yeah.
I have worked in ICU, ER, I worked in med-surg and long-term care. At one point, I was the executive quality director of an enormous national company for one of their projects in Vermont, and realized that what I love about nursing is being a nurse, not being an executive director of anything. So I came back down the ladder and have worked as a clinical coordinator and training and supporting and assisting staff. But my favorite love is taking care of people. But I kept running into this wall, almost of futility. So, for example, if you're a diabetic, there are amazing resources out there in the world. You get diet counseling, you can have a nutritionist come to your house. There are even meal programs covered by insurance companies that come and send you food and cook it for you so that you are eating exactly right. There's education programs, there's every resource you could ever need. And still, people lose limbs because of their diabetes. They still have all the complications, they still have all the pieces, and they can't stick to the regimen that's required. So I started to get to thinking, what is it that keeps people from doing this? If you know that smoking's killing you, what is it that's keeping you from quitting? If you know that these behaviors are harming you, why are you still doing them? And as a nurse, there's only so much that I can do. I can give you medicine, and I can counsel you, and I can educate you, and I can treat your wounds every time you come back to the hospital. So, back to John. John goes and recertifies as a certified hypnotist in Virginia and comes back home and says, "Oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. Let me hypnotize you." And I said, "No, I don't want to do that. I'm a nurse. I do evidence-based practice. I do science. I do medicine. This is snake oil, and I don't want to do this." So I gave in, and it was the coolest experience ever. To be wide awake and alert the entire time and recognize that I'm in this place where my subconscious mind is totally in charge. And it was the most profound relaxation ever. And it was a great experience. It was about an hour long. And I said, "Okay, phenomenal. Thank you so much." And I went about my day, and I thought, well, that was fun. And the next few days, I started recognizing that, hey, wait, I'm a lot more steady now. I don't have the stress that I felt 3 days ago. Mm-hmm. Nothing's changed in life. I just don't recognize that piece of stress. I'm eating better and I'm sleeping better. And then it clicked. That's what hypnosis does. So I got to thinking that maybe this was that missing link that I didn't have in nursing. Maybe this was that piece, that the reason why you can't quit smoking even though it's killing you. The reason why you can't stick to this diet regimen and you can't get rid of the old habits and the old behaviors that are running you into the ground. So I went to get certified with the full intention of carrying it into my nursing practice to save the world. And about halfway into 500 hours of training, I went, wait, like you can do this? Like for a living? I can just be a hypnotist? Well, okay, let's do that. So I completed my training and I got my certification, and I walked out of my nursing career to open my own practice. All thanks to John.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
It's awesome. So you mentioned John started Green Mountain Hypnosis, or he started his practice and kind of got you into it?
He actually didn't start a practice.
He
is in a position where he still has a day job, still has a full-time gig, and I was in a position where, to be honest, I was coming out of divorce, and I had a huge settlement, and I had the ability to step in and start a practice.
Okay.
So we've worked together to grow this business, and he is helping people when he can, and I have the full-time practice.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Was it synergy there?
Yes. It works pretty well.
Yeah. So let's talk about hypnosis a little bit.
Absolutely.
Since clearly that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So what is hypnosis?
So hypnosis is a waking state of consciousness, which probably goes against everything you thought it was. Hypnosis is a state where we bring you down to theta and delta brain waves. Right now you're in alpha brain waves. If you space out for a few minutes, then that's like beta brain waves. But below that, where you have less conscious awareness of what's going on around you. And the most similar thing you've ever done is, did you ever have a commute where you drive the same road every day?
Yeah.
And then one day you get to where you're going and you realize there is a whole town that you don't remember going through? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hypnosis. You're still clearly driving. Nothing horrendous happened because there's no lights and wreckage behind you. But you were so laser focused on that one act to the exclusion of everything else. So it's like that feeling. You know you're still driving, you know you're still going through it. So hypnosis is a state where we kind of dismiss your conscious mind, and we speak directly to your subconscious mind, where that's in charge of all those habits, all those programs, all those things that you do every day without even thinking of them. And we change them. So if I start like this, like typically with a client, we'll sit down and we'll say, "Hi, Chris, I'm Karen." And you'll say, "Hi, Karen." And I'll go, "So here's how this works. You have two parts of your mind.
Yeah.
You have your conscious mind, which is in charge of, it has a job of taking in information from everything around you and making a map. A map of where you are in space and time and what's going on, and it gives that map to your subconscious mind. So your conscious mind says, we're in a room and there's a wooden table in front of us and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
This is what my body temperature feels like. This is this. Here I am. That's all it does. It talks in terms of logic and facts and reason and willpower. So the subconscious mind is enormous, and it's in charge of everything you don't have conscious control over. It's in charge of your heart rate and how many times a minute you blink and your respirations and your blood pressure. And it's in charge of your imagination and your emotions and your habits and your reactions. And it has a job too. And its job is to keep you alive. And it uses all of those things to do just that. So, for example, contrary to popular belief, it's the amount of carbon dioxide in your body that decides how often you breathe. So if your carbon dioxide level gets to a certain point, your subconscious mind triggers you to take a deeper breath, or yawn, or stretch or change position or do something that's going to get more oxygen into your system. So in that, if you encounter a situation that in the past has frightened you or alarmed you, it's your subconscious mind that makes you sweat, gives you an upset stomach, makes you uncomfortable, twitches in your muscles, flushes in your skin, and gets you to move out of that situation.
Yeah.
And it works like lines of code on a computer. Your subconscious works very much in if-then equations. So if something resembling this happens, then we execute these commands.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a wonderful way to look at it, because then we can go in and we can rewrite lines of code. And that's where the hypnosis is so effective.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff there. How long does it take to typically put someone, I don't want to say put them down, put them into hypnosis state?
Well, because it's such a natural place, and because it's anything, hypnosis is anything on a continuum between daydreaming and something that's called the Esdale state, which is a profoundly deep state of hypnosis that you can perform surgery under without anesthetic drugs. So, anything between here and there is wonderful. And change work, the change work that I do and the changes that I help people make can happen anywhere between here and there. So, but to put someone in a typical trance, 2 to 3 minutes is a good induction. The hypnotic induction is what we call that, and it's usually about 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how many extra words I throw in. There are things called instant inductions, and you'll see stage hypnotists use this. Mm-hmm. It's usually a pressure point and a point of surprise. So when I push on your shoulder, and they'll push on the subjects on the volunteer's shoulder and pull on their arm.
Yeah.
So it's expected anticipation. When I do this, you're going to go into hypnosis, and then the surprise, and it just puts them there. So there's instant inductions, which is seconds, and there's more classic inductions that I do, which are like 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay. So I've heard a couple of, I guess, videos online, like hypnosis. I don't want to call them drills or tracks, but things played on tracks, I guess.
Like audio programs.
Yeah. So is that type of thing for you scripted, or is it kind of dependent upon who's in front of you? You kind of make it up as you go? I'm just kind of curious.
It's very dependent on who's in front of me.
Yeah.
So when I say that I have a client-centered practice, and we work in a client-centered environment, that means that, yes, there are certain things that are like the induction that I use is called the Elman Induction, and it's pretty much the same every time. Mm-hmm. But as far as what I use with you for your particular issue and the thing you're trying to tackle, it's very much dependent on who you are and what you need and how you're going to respond and what's going to work best. If in the same notion that if you speak German, I'm not going to start in Spanish. So it's got to be your buy-in, and it's got to be your acceptance, and it's a privilege to work with people's minds, and it's a privilege to change people's lives. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's not a cookie cutter.
Yeah. What type of things do you address? Because you had mentioned like weight loss and like quitting smoking, but what type of things do you address as far as like what your clients are looking for?
Everybody does weight loss and smoking and stress.
Yeah.
So my favorite client of all time is the one that calls and says, I have no idea what I need, but I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yes. That's my jackpot. That's my favorite. Because you may not consciously know, but your subconscious mind does, which means that we can get there and we can make those changes. And one of the biggest differences between hypnosis and traditional therapies is that I don't have to make you relive trauma to let it go. Mm-hmm. So I work with clients with PTSD, with recovering from grief and releasing negative emotions and events. I helped a guy find some money he hid from his wife once. I help people quit smoking and lose weight, and I help people manage stress and do time management and become more motivated. I have a client coming in next week who has, he plays golf. And he loves to play in the local tournaments, the benefit tournaments that companies have. Except he gets there and he gets anxious and he freezes up and he blows his swing every time. So we're going to get him to where that anxiety doesn't exist anymore. Really, any change that you can imagine that you would like to make, we can do that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, this is a fun little question I wrote down. Because I've heard this concern from people before.
Yeah.
Bad practices. So let's say
Yes.
you can almost think about it like from a stage hypnosis perspective. They make you do dumb things, stuff like that. But if you take it a little further, when you're doing like unethical or wrong things, I've heard that come up in conversation too. Where like, I don't want to do it because I don't trust.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever. Is that something you run across a lot, or a common fear from people?
I think by the time people get to where they're calling me on the phone for a consultation, they've kind of gotten over that. But here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I am a certified hypnotist by the National Guild of Hypnotists, which has in it a built-in code of ethics. And I'm a nurse. And the reason why I was able to change careers is because I believe in this. I believe in its efficacy, and I believe in its ability to help people move through places that they are stuck in. So, of course, and that should be a concern, because that's scary.
Yeah.
But on the other end of it, at one point in time, nursing was not a profession. We were nothing more than glorified maids. Nurses built themselves as a profession and are now the most trusted profession in the world. And hypnosis is working very hard to build itself as a profession, and we'll get there someday, just like acupuncture and massage did, and all these other augmented and all these other complementary therapies.
Yeah.
So we'll get there, but be careful. So there's things you can look for. Is your hypnotist certified? And who are they certified by? You want to look for someone with a standard, a code of ethics, some monitoring and regulation. What professional organizations does that hypnotist belong to? Green Mountain Hypnosis is accredited by the Better Business Bureau, so we pass their standards. I'm a member of BNI, Business Networking International, so I have to pass their ethical standards too. I'm still a registered nurse in Vermont and New Hampshire, and while I cannot practice hypnosis under my nursing license, because I maintain those licenses, I still have to be a really good person. So there's all these things. Does your hypnotist carry insurance? So typically in a private practice, you would have a malpractice insurance as well as your physical building insurance. And can they prove that they're insured? How long have they been in business, and who trained them? That makes a big difference. I will sadly admit that there are places where you can go online and watch 14 videos and take a test and get a piece of paper that says that you can hypnotize people. And I'm really sorry that that's a thing. I went to Virginia Hypnosis with Jason Lynette to get my training because he is an award-winning instructor. He is board certified by the National Guild, and he has crazy experience, and he's a brilliant hypnotist. So where did your hypnotist come from? And so that's the tips that I would give to somebody looking for a hypnotist but has that concern and caution. There's ways to check people out, especially in this information-heavy world. You can look my name up 17 ways and find out almost my whole life, I think. So.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So we take a quick minute, roll into a word from our sponsors, and everyone will be right back. So if you're interested in getting a funnel for your business, but you don't quite know if you need one, let me give you a quick rundown on funnels and why they're so powerful. So NHBshow.com/funnels is where you go to check them out. Now, Funnels by Kiara offers awesome funnels on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all these places where there are billions of people every month searching, hanging out. So they're introduced to your business via funnel, and it slowly draws them down the funnel until they become a customer of yours. Now, this is hugely powerful for, contractors, plumbers, electricians, the whole deal. Realtors, we're very, very good with realtors. So if you're a realtor and you don't have a social media funnel, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. So head over to NHBshow.com/funnels. I'll get you in touch with Kiara and her team, and we'll start making you guys some money. So you actually already answered one of the questions I was going to ask about finding a good practice. Mm-hmm. So let's get into a little bit of that. Not really finding good practice, but I think you answered that question too. When should someone even consider looking at a hypnotist? Should it actually be done early on, even if you don't think you have any problems, or what are some of your recommendations?
So I think hypnosis works best when you realize that something has to change. And it's that place where, okay, I have to quit smoking, or I have got to get off this couch and do the things that I know I'm supposed to do to lose weight, or I have got to get better study habits, or I've got to get over this test anxiety, or wow, the ground is almost dry and golf season is coming. So as soon as you recognize that change needs to be made, it's definitely a viable option. Now, that's for that set of issues. And then we get into the more things in the mental health realm, like stress and anxiety and depression. Hypnosis is an incredibly healing practice. So, for example, when somebody tells you that you heal in your sleep, that your body heals itself while you're sleeping, that's actually pretty true. And your subconscious mind triggers these events to start happening when it recognizes that you've gone into these brainwaves. So if we get you in the same brainwaves while you're awake, then your subconscious mind is going to trigger those healing processes to begin in your body.
Yeah.
So, okay, benefit one. The second piece is depression, anxiety, insomnia, that learning how to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Those pieces, hypnosis works very, very well for. So, if you are suffering from depression and the world is a little bit too heavy right now, and you don't want to go up on your medication, that's a good time. I get a lot of calls from people who say that, okay, so summer's coming and my kids are getting out of school and there's this wedding and there's this and there's that and my mother's coming to live with us and the stress is gonna be phenomenal. That's a good time. Basically, whenever you're ready to make a change.
Yeah. So this is another good one too. Yes. Well, I think all my questions are good. But when you put someone under or put them into the state of hypnosis, I like saying that when you put them down.
Yes.
Do you get varying level of results there, like of the actual putting them into hypnosis? Because I've spoken to, let's just say, my wife, when she's like, "Oh no, you can't hypnotize me because I won't go down."
Those are my favorite.
So those types of things, like, are most people actually pretty receptible to it?
They are.
Or is it as grandstanding as they think it is?
So you can fight the process.
Yeah.
Of course you can. But if you are willing to go with the process, then you will go into hypnosis. And yeah, there are varying degrees. Think of it like learning a skill. Mm-hmm. And the more you practice it, the better you get at it. Mm-hmm. So the more you use hypnosis, the faster you go into trance and the deeper you go. Those people that say, yeah, you can't hypnotize me. Those are the best because you get them in the chair and you explain it, and really it's a process of following instructions. So if I were to ask you to think about something, just think about it. If I have you imagine something, just imagine it.
Yeah.
However that works for you, because I can't check your work.
Yeah.
So those people that say, yeah, I can't, I say, well, how about we just do this? And they drop like a stone. It's my favorite. My answer to, I don't think I can be hypnotized is, yeah, you're doing it already. Every day. Everything you tell yourself, every idea you reinforce inside yourself.
Yeah.
Every time you feed into that inner dialogue, you're hypnotizing yourself. So why not do it right?
Yeah. That's a really good point. And I kind of like what you were talking about is, it's, I don't want to refer to it as a muscle, but it is like, almost at first, you probably feel like, this is a little weird, the person's talking to me and I'm kind of like sleepy about it and stuff. But the more you just accept it, it's just, you can cut through it and go in faster. Exactly. So it's almost like like you said, it's a learned like skill. I like that.
It is exactly like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of it is they like can't hypnotize because they're fighting it.
Yeah.
Like, then what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, and to be honest and to be fair, I have had the conversation with clients who are just resisting everything I do, and I'll sit back and say, you know what, go ahead, open your eyes. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
What?
Like, what was the point of coming in?
I am not the cheapest solution. I am not the most expensive solution.
Yeah.
But I'm sure not the cheapest. So what is it that you're doing here? Mm-hmm. Are you going to play with me or not?
Yeah. It's like, relax.
Yeah.
Like, let it happen.
And usually that gets a really good laugh, and then we're all kind of settled in, and we can go from there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, that was a lot of what I had. So let's move on to the second part of it. Because I know you had something you want to offer the audience. And then we can kind of go from there.
So, as I understand it, Chris, much of your audience are business owners, business people, and people working their way through this grand adventure of owning and operating a business. So, I have some tools. So, I would like to offer, if your folks email me with the code NHBshow to my email address, which I'm going to hope that you put on.
Yeah, I'll put up for you.
Okay. It's KarenGray at greenmountainhypnosis.com. I'll send you a free audio hypnosis program. And you have a choice. So it can be stress relief, or increased productivity, or time management. And we'll go from there.
Cool.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, other than your email, how do people reach out to you, get in contact?
Absolutely. So I do have a Facebook page. It's Green Mountain Hypnosis. You can get me on my website, which is www.greenmountainhypnosis.com. My email and my phone number is 802-566-0464.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun, and I've never spoken to a hypnotist before like this. So I love my job.
Awesome. I love my job too.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me, Chris. This has been a blast.
It definitely has been. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next interview.